All right, so for this project, we are doing something. It's been a while since we've done a really cool EDM album. So I really want to get a good EDM modern sounding album. You know, the cool thing about like EDM house type stuff is you can really kind of get creative. You don't really need to stick too much into a box. If you define house, maybe you think you should, but you know, modern kind of EDM nowadays, the entire point is to just kind of take a genre and then kind of add yourself into it a little bit. And you can kind of tell, you listen to some of these examples, which we'll go through, and essentially it's like 80% genre, 20% the person making the genre as far as influences go. So I don't want to be too much in like stick to, a style or whatever. I really just have a few notes of what I really want, and then everything else in a lot of ways is up to you. So we'll go through the technical stuff, then the creative stuff, and then I'll let you guys go. So first, for those of you you've been around for a while, you kind of know these terms anyway. But for those of you that are new, we're going to go over them. So the project is due at the end of September. 11 p.m., due date's right there. So feedback grading system. So for those of you that are new, we do A, B, and C, just like if we're in school, right? So A is, you've been accepted. Maybe there's a couple changes. Maybe like, turn down the tambourine a little bit or whatever. And then send this, deliverables. Like, so the A is it's been accepted. Maybe there's some changes, or maybe there's no changes. And I'm just like, I love it. Send me the stems, right? So B is kind of, I really like where this is going, but it needs like a couple changes. Maybe we'll go through some revisions and maybe we can get it to an A, but it's still not guaranteed. It may still end up a C if we just can't get it working right. But we'll try to work through it and get it to an A if we can. So, and then C's are just, this ain't working. And, I'll give you a reason why. I'll explain, it's because of this or because of that. So that way you can kind of learn and understand what, why it's not fitting the project and how to not make that mistake, in your next track. So you're not doing the same thing over and over again. The submission guidelines, downloadable links is kind of the main thing. Tracks should be about 2 minutes. If they go a little bit over, that's fine. But hovering around the 2-minute mark is good. Dropbox links, Box links, or Google Drive links are good as long as I can download and as long as I can play them. A lot of times people will send a Dropbox link or a Google Drive link and I'll have to ask permission to listen to it, and then you on your end have to agree. None of that. And just make it a public thing that I can just click on and click play and get through it, go through it fast. There's a lot of these projects that get a lot of submissions, and getting hung up like that, it's hard too, because if I go through a bunch of submissions and there was one in the past, like in that list where I had to get asked for permission, it's going to be hard for me to remember to go back into a random submission and kind of see if I have permission now to listen to it. So I'll let you know, if it doesn't work, I'll say, it doesn't work, repost it at the bottom, so that way I don't have to go back and try and find it. So when posting your submissions, make sure you use this file name, full name. So as you can see, my cursor, full name, track title, and then a BPM. So that way I kind of know what I'm looking at. So if I download it and it says track1.mp3, I have no idea who made it, what track it is, or anything like that. So if you have this file name, it kind of helps me be organized a little bit. And then that way, if I take a listen a day later or something, I can go back and find who made it and say something about it, right? So name, track title, BPM, and then button endings. So we have a video on Sync Academy, so go find it if you don't know what a button ending is. But essentially, button endings, are that ending hit, just go done, and then the song is over. So terms. So basic terms for, this has been true for a while now, GID. So for those of you who have been around, these terms. For those of you that are new, let's go through them. So there's no upfront fees for this, for any of these tracks. GID owns 100% of the publishing and master. You as the writer own 100% of the writers. So any writer royalties coming in, they go straight to you through your PRO. 50% of all sync fees get split between you and us. So if we land a TV commercial for $1,000, you get $500, we get $500, done deal. So that's a pretty cool scenario, because there are many non-royalty scenarios out there where let's say it's a YouTube ad campaign where the ad is only airing on YouTube. You're probably not going to make any royalties. So if that's the case, there's still some sync fee scenario that you can take part in, which I think is really cool with this kind of relationship between us, is that I feel comfortable making non-royalty, placements and stuff with your music, knowing that I still get to pay you for that placement. Because in some scenarios, like libraries won't split the sync at all, and then if there's a non-royalty scenario, you're just kind of out of luck. So anyway, so those are the terms. We also have this extra stipulation of, so your track goes on an album and then it's out there, and those are the terms. But we also reserve the right to kind of take and make a song version of that track. So we'll take that track, get a vocalist to do a cool song on it, and maybe they'll like arrange it a little bit different or something like that. But at the end of the day, it's a new track with a song on top with some vocals. In that scenario, everything gets cut down to 50%. So if your writers is 100%, you're now at 50, and then that vocalist is at 50. And just on the song version, your instrumental version, is still where it is with its splits, how it was. This new song version is just the song version, and it has them now as a writer, and then the sync is split between you and that writer for that song version. So we if you don't like that scenario, which I don't know why you wouldn't, it's just an extra song on your list or whatever. But if you don't like that scenario, you're not, then really don't pitch to this, because there's so many scenarios where we can go back to a track in the library, make a cool song, and make a big placement, a big sync that would have normally never existed if there weren't any vocals on it. So we need that option, and that's in the paperwork too. So anyway, so let's keep going. Let's see, paperwork. So in the paperwork, what you can do one piece of paperwork per track if you want, or you can wait till the end of the project and see how many tracks you've had accepted, and then just do one contract for all of those tracks. It's up to you, but essentially this is how it works. Click on the link, and in there, everything that's dark blue you got to fill out. So it'll be your name, your address, your BMI number, all that stuff. And then at the on the Schedule A is where you put the track. So if you in there you put the title, the fee, which will be 0 for this project, and the writer information. So it'll look like Joe Smith, epic track, 130 BPM, fee 0, and then in brackets your name, your PRO, your percentage. So this will be in the Schedule A, and if there's if it's like 4 tracks, then you'll have 4 little things that look like this in the Schedule A. And yeah, that's about it. And then you just digitally sign it, and then you're done. Deliverables. So with the deliverables, we used to just take, for those of you who've been around for a while, we used to take all these different versions. We needed the full and alternates and cut downs and all this kind of stuff. But because of our current workflow, we actually really only need stems now. So what we need from you is, if we accept a track, just stem everything out separate. So stem the kick and the snare and the synth and the brass and all the different things, separate them out, zip them up in a folder with that same title. So if your track title, looks something like this, zip them up in a folder with that title and upload them to this link. You click on it and there's like a drag and drop thing, or you can click and then there's like a select your file thing. Either way, that's where you upload the stems. Once that's done, that's done. Then the track is in our hands, and we take the stems and do all the things. We mix, we master, we make all the cut downs, we make all the different versions, we do all the things for you. So we're going to go over a couple of references, and then we're kind of done. And like I said at the beginning, we're going to listen to some references, but essentially we just want it to sound modern and cool, and that's it. With a few stipulations, like don't have it be super slow and sleepy. Really keep the tempo up. Slow and sleepy just doesn't work too well in TV, so we don't want too much of that. And then modern, that's the biggest thing. We want it to sound like the music people are making today. We don't want 10-year-old EDM, right? So let's take a listen.
I'm hiding in the dark. It's my last night. In the earth, in the universe, you make me give you up before you open compromise. And when you say no,
a lot of these songs have way too long of an intro. And if you know anything, like if you've seen any of the videos for for NSYNC Academy and stuff, like long intros we don't need long intros. So just skip past the long 30-second intros and stuff and get to the good part.
I took a
Right. So this has that kind of like don't, and that's actually a really that I don't know what it's called, but it's like a European inspired house stuff, and yeah, so that's something that's really popular right now. So having that kind of like don't, I think a bunch of these are gonna have that kind of thing. Make sure you guys brush your teeth. You know, it's important, and get a shake weight too. All right, come on. There we go. Again, this is a minute-long intro. There's that song again. That thing again. It's that don't. That was in the similar in the other track too. So definitely have some of that in your tracks. Yeah, so those two were pretty similar. Let's see if I can grab something a little bit different. Let's see. But this stuff is popular right now, so make tracks like it. This one's a little more piano driven. It's got that dun 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 piano thing going on, a little more upbeat too. And if you notice in all of these tracks so far anyway, not saying that you don't need to do this, but there's not a lot of really in-your-face stuff going on. It's pretty clean, pretty nice. There's not like this like dubstep wub kind of slapping you in the face or whatever. So think about that too, like in some of these where everything is pretty pleasant sounding and it's not, overbearing and stuff like that. You're the one who but definitely don't be too minimal. Some of these are a little too many. You strip out the vocals, there's not a lot going on.
Writing's not that easy.
But even this, check out the track behind this.
This sentence is grammatically correct, but it's wordy and hard to read.
I've been trying not to go off the deep end.
This one too, not a lot like slapping you in the face, but it's still got a cool vibe going on to it. This one's a little more up tempo too. It's got that synth that's kind of going a little fast. And it's the subtle nuances too. That entire time it was doing that, they had like a filter and like something else going on where it got like it was evolving as you heard it. Let's check it out. Right, so like things like that, will make, because a lot of these tracks are super minimal, right? There's not a lot going on, but there's a lot changing within the little that is there, and you want to make sure you have that, or else it's just going to sound empty. That's cool right there.
I've been trying not to go off the deep end.
Piano drop. This is a pretty cool one. So yeah. So like I said, be modern. That kind of see what's modern. Go through some of these tracks to see what's kind of going on. In today. But make sure you add yourself in there too. If you really want to add a little bit of your flair and your kind of stuff, like go ahead. At the end of the day, I don't want to follow their style too much, but I really want to just consider basically what's going on today, and then adding a little bit of your flair to it. So I won't take up any more of your time. I'm really excited to hear what you guys have going on, because this one I like listening to EDM, so I'm gonna have a ton of fun listening to your guys' submissions. But yeah, like I said, be creative. Don't just try and follow the brief. Don't listen to the 5 things that go on in the track and be like, I'm going to do those 5 things and make that track and be done with it. I want to hear some of you guys and what you feel in these tracks as well. So, like I said, do an 80-20. 80% what they're doing, 20% what you're doing. I think we'll come up with some cool stuff so that not everything sounds the same. So anyway, that's it. Really excited to hear what you guys do.